flooding in Brazil, drought in Spain, drought in Russia. We have major strikes happening around the world that are going to impact food supply systems. Friends, we're going to give you a news update. We're going to run around the world real fast and we're going to keep it super simple. Don't worry about that. I'm going to throw some numbers at you, but I'm going to give you an overarching idea of what's going on, what items are going to be going up in price, and what items are we going to be seeing shortages in. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are reports on what's going on with the food supply system. All right, so let's start over in Brazil. Down in Brazil, Brazil South, right near the borders, we have a lot of heavy flooding happening. And this is pushing up corn and soybean prices. Brazil is a major exporter of soybeans as well as corn. And so that is already affecting prices. And rumor has it that things are going to get kind of ugly there. We're already seeing 118 million bushels of corn evaporating. This is the estimates on what the harvest is going to look like in Brazil this year. And we're seeing 118 million less bushels of corn that are going to be going out there. Now, it's also stalling the planting of soybeans. So the heavy flooding has damaged the corn crop. Their latest soybean harvest mostly was harvested by the time this flooding happened. And so we're seeing that is not going to impact it from the previous harvest, but it is delaying significantly the planting of next year's harvest. So this is going to impact soybean crops before the end of the year. So this is a big deal out there. We're keeping an eye on this, but already futures markets are reacting to this. Corn up, soybean up. We're also seeing wheat prices going up too, but that's for different reasons that we're about to get into. So wheat is going up. Why is that? Russia has a drought over some of the critical regions where they grow a lot of wheat. Russia is a powerhouse in growing wheat. And with drought over top of these areas, we're seeing the prices spiking upwards. Also, we're seeing that there is concern about the Black Sea arrangement of exporting Ukrainian as well as Russian wheat. That is under threat once again, and so that is also affecting prices out there of wheat. We have the Russian wheat harvest has been downgraded 2%, which is huge. We're talking about millions and millions of bushels. Exports are going to be estimated to be down 3%. Russia exports a lot of wheat. They don't eat that much. They export tons and tons of it. It's very similar to the United States grain belt. So we have a lot of production here in the United States that we export to the world. Russia does the same thing. All right, so wheat up, soybeans up, corn up. We have a major truck driver, train, and port worker strike beginning on May 6th. This is going to impact the exports from Argentina, which is also a major economic powerhouse when it comes to agriculture. Argentina is a major exporter, Brazil is a major exporter, United States is a major exporter, and Russia is a major exporter. You have other exporters that kind of specialize in this and that, but we're talking about Argentina is a major exporter. They're trying to steal market share from Brazil. Brazil and Argentina are kind of going at each other now. With the new president down there, has been slashing the budget. Right, he laid off over half of the federal workforce in Argentina. He balanced the budget in just a matter of weeks. People said it couldn't be done, and yet somehow he did it. But now comes the blowback. A lot of these public employees, bus drivers, train drivers, truck drivers, port workers, a lot of them are government employees, and they've had the carpet pulled out from underneath them, and now they're going on strike. They've gotten organized. They're going to have a nationwide strike. No word yet on how long they plan to strike for, but it begins May 6th. and that is going to be an epic showdown there. And it looks like nothing is going to leave the ports, and nothing is going to be heading on its way to the ports from the farms and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to impact global supplies there too. So that agriculture is reacting to that for sure. We also have a major olive oil disruption out there. We've been talking about this for a while now, that the last year's olive oil harvest was down significantly. Spain, which supplies more than 40% of the world's olive oil, they normally have a harvest around 1.3 million to 1.5 million metric tons, but their harvest came in at 666,000 tons. So less than half than what their normal is what they actually brought in, and that's 40% of so 20% of the world's olive oil just went poof. And we're not even touching what happened in Italy as well as some of the surrounding areas around Spain. So this is a major, major blow. We're seeing record high prices for olive oil, and we're already seeing like $8.4 per kilogram, which is just insane. We saw an unprecedented high just a couple months ago of 9.2 euros for back in January for olive oil per kilo. Now, I know that doesn't really mean anything to you, and most American olive oils are cut with other oils, so you don't ever, it's hardly ever that you actually get real olive oil in the United States. You have to buy top-notch brands to actually get that, but that is impacting, so that's why your olive oil prices are going dramatically higher, and that's why we're seeing the olive oils on the shelves just thinning out significantly. We're hearing more and more importers of olive oil from Europe in the United States are just shutting down because they just can't, they know that they can't sell the olive oil at the prices in the United States that they are having to pay for it from Europe. All right, big news out there with the USDA. We saw this one coming. Now we have some details. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced plans to begin bird flu testing of ground beef. Yes, this is going to start in affected states. So 9 states so far. Anytime they get another state that has even one positive test for bird flu in the cattle, that is going to be added on. Right now, they're starting with 2 kinds of testings. They're starting with retail testing, which is a very low intrusive. They're just going to the store, they're buying a package of ground beef, and they're testing it with the PCR tests. Yay, PCR tests, because we all love those things, right? Because they're so very accurate. So they are using PCR tests against ground beef that they're finding at stores. That's kind of like, okay, if you want to go have fun, cool. As long as you're not messing with the farmers, as long as you're not messing with other things. But they are messing with other things. They have begun doing samples at slaughterhouses as well. Not only that, but there are reports that they have already begun pulling carcasses off the production line of anything that they think is abnormal. So they are. There was a cow that had bird flu in its lungs. No symptoms, no problems, but they found bird flu in a test from their lungs, and so they pulled that carcass off the line. And we're starting to see that out there with more and more. They're telling us that there's no danger whatsoever from this, but yet they're pulling carcasses off the line. With beef prices already heading upwards significantly already, we're seeing that those inspectors, out of an abundance of caution, are starting to pull meat off the line and are disposing of it. How are they doing that? Well, it may end up on their kitchen table, but probably just destroyed, right? And so we have, this is starting to become a problem. We're not seeing any testing yet of cattle going from one state to the next as long as it's going directly to a slaughterhouse. But then the slaughterhouses that they're going to, if you're crossing from a state that has infections, bird flu infections, to states that don't have bird flu infections, they have to then have inspection there, or you can't send the cattle there. So you do the math on that one, and you realize that these 9 states of testing could very quickly become all states, right? Because you're having limited choices of what you can do with cattle that have tested positive for bird flu. What do you do with them now? You can't send them to certain slaughterhouses. You can only send them to certain states unless you get special permission from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. You also have to get them individually inspected by a veterinarian. You have to have paperwork that says that this head of cattle, this one, not that one, not all of them, but each individual one needs to be inspected by a veterinarian before they're allowed to cross state lines. So as you can see, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is meddling, and this is going to add more and more annoyance and more difficulty, especially for smaller producers. So be aware that the beef prices are probably going to spiral upwards because of that. So not only that, but as we see corn prices go up, soybean prices go up, wheat prices go up, what do they feed the cattle to fatten them up? Corn. That's right. We see the foods that they're feeding the cattle are going up in price. That means beef prices are going to be heading up. There's all sorts of reasons why beef prices are going to go through the roof in the next 6 months. So you need to be stocking up now. There's lots of good options out there of what to do. Think it through. If your family eats beef, if you're a vegetarian, then you're good. You just need to worry about the soybean prices because that's what most fake meat is made up of, is soybeans, right? So you got to worry about the soybean prices. But for those who are meat eaters and families that eat a lot of beef, you need to be aware of the prices going up that way because of that. And expect egg prices not to stabilize. Egg prices are going to continue to go up as we see these continued infections. If we're seeing cattle getting this and it's spreading amongst cattle, you had better believe it's going to continue spreading among the chickens and the hens that lay eggs out there. And as we saw with the last go-around of the cough and other things, we saw the eggs just fly off the shelves. And it seems like, and some people connect the dots on those things and say that the eggs themselves were actually fairly good at helping you defeat the cough, and so because of that, they had to get rid of the eggs, make them go away, and so that people couldn't have them and wouldn't be eating as many of them, so that they would be dependent upon the government for salvation, right? And so you can look into that one if you'd like. Just kind of throwing that out there for you to just kind of be aware of that as well. All right, so we have those reports, and we're going to keep you updated on what's happening with the news on the food shortages out there and different items, but that should give you a little bit of an idea of what we're really tracking right now. Sugar shouldn't be in shortage right now. Some of you guys are reporting that, but the domino factory, the big domino factory, is in the port of Baltimore. So that may be affecting some supply chain issues there, but it shouldn't be impacting the regular generic sugar, which is the cheap sugar beet sugar. Domino sugar is sugar cane, which is imported. So that production could be, you might be seeing some issues with domino sugar out there. But other than that, we shouldn't be seeing sugar issues out there. All right, friends, if you guys have questions about other items out there of why this might be happening, that might be happening. Of course, we got knock-on effects onto the dairy program because of partially the bird flu, but we've been having problems with dairy going back for the last couple years now. So that's just continued on. We haven't really seen a lot of this bird flu issues over onto dairy just yet, but that may be coming. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.